everybody, my name is Ardalan Ghilavizadeh. I would like this time talk about the growing exotic mushrooms. In this step and the future, I will go for the button mushroom. I would like teach you growing exotic mushroom like a saffron. The exotic mushroom. What is the exotic mushroom? Exotic mushroom or medicinal mushrooms like the mushroom like a Ganoderma, white shimage, brown shimage, king oyster, enoki, and all type of the oyster, lemon oyster, shiitake, lambsman. This is exotic mushroom. At the first step, what is the substrate in the exotic mushroom? In the button mushroom, we have the limited in the sources that we use. Only in the button mushroom, wheat straw, chicken manure, and the gypsum. Only we are forced to use only this substrate. But about exotic mushrooms, in addition, in the button mushroom we need the casing soil, but about the exotic mushroom we don't need any soil, any casing soil. In the button mushroom, the making compost of the button mushroom is very hard. It's the needs to the lands, to the equipment. It's so expensive. The majority of people are not able to making the compost. But the price of the button mushroom usually in different countries between the $1, $2, maybe less. But about the exotic mushroom, the good news, in your house you can make the best one. Only focus on the knowledge about the growing exotic mushroom. Substrate that we use in the exotic mushroom very lot. We can near the 100 substrate we can use in the exotic mushroom. For example, in the wheat straw, in the one country it's expensive, you can use wooden chips. Or we can use the waste of the byproduct of the wasting, the residues of the crops. For example, the wooden chips, very cheap. Sawdust is the all carpentry. You can find it in the workshop, in the all. You can find this substrate about the exotic mushroom. Now, what is the best substrate and how we can make it? Today I don't want to talk about the step by step. I want to give you an overview about the exotic mushroom. The best substrate, the first step, the best substrate for the oyster, gray oyster, lemon oyster, red oyster, king oyster is the wheat straw. The best wheat straw is the dimension 10 to 12 centimeters. It is better we use the water in the wheat straw. You should find from the farms that use the water, not without only focus on the base of the rain. Okay, because the thickness is very important, the dimension of this is very important. But usually even the 100% of the substrate in this oyster use only wheat straw. Only you should wet mix with the water, and when you reach to the pH near the 7, humidity near the 70%, and after the wet put in the autoclave, and near the 2 hours, 1.5 hours in the 121 centigrade, and you can put the spawn. Finish. In the oyster, lemon oyster and all oyster, you can use 100% of 100% with straw. Plus, that is very important. Parenthesis is very important. You should reach near the amount of the carbon, amount of the nitrogen, and the ratio of the carbon to nitrogen. The amount of the carbon in the wheat straw is usually between 11.5, 11.2, and the amount of the nitrogen is 0.55, 54. This is different in different. But you should reach the ratio of the carbon to nitrogen to all exotic mushrooms. That is very important. Is the 30. You should reach to these factors. Therefore, pH should be 7. EC of the water that you use under 1, and the humidity 70%. After the ratio of the carbon to nitrogen is the near 30. How many? For example, for the 10 kilogram of the wheat straw, you should use 12 liters of the water. You know, the amount of the water is doesn't have the special formula. You should mix and add the water. For example, if the 10 kilogram wheat sterile, gradually with the mixer, you should provide a mixer, simultaneously give the water, and you should reach the 70% humidity. And parenthesis, very important, after the wetting, when you press the sweet straw with the, after the wetting, for example 1 hour 30 minutes that you mix, any 1 drop of the water shouldn't be UC. Okay, you should feel the wet, but any water after the pressing shouldn't be coming out from the wheat straw. This is the sign of the base for the making the exotic mushroom. This is for oyster. For example, for the king oyster, you can use the wood chips of the all kind of the tree that are growing in your country. For example, one of the best wood chips is the mango tree. This is the wood chips. You know, this is the sawdust. This is the wood chips. Wood chips is the used, for example, in the all oyster should be with straw. For the king oyster, lion's mane, shimage, you can use 50% of the wood chips, 50% of the sawdust. 50% sawdust. Why we shouldn't use 100% of the sawdust? Because you know the sawdust, as you can see, very small, and sometimes mycelium will be suffocated and cannot move, and also we can do all kind of the mold. It is better we put some wood chips because it's very big and we have the some small holes and we have the good evaporation via our substrate, like a sand. For example, like in the agriculture, in the farm that we use, this is the complete clay. For example, this is the sand we use. We have the good equal if the texture of the soil. For example, the best 50% of the wood chips, 50% of the sawdust you can use, and after the wetting, it doesn't need put in the water. For example, 24 hours, 20 hours, it doesn't need any water. Only when you are mixing, you should add the water in the mixer. You can easily provide it in the Alibaba and Amazon mixer, and the Chinese company are producing a lot and with a good price. After the mixing, for example, if the pH, for example, if you see the pH is a 7.4, you can use the gypsum SO4 because it's SO4, and decrease the amount of the pH. But we shouldn't always use the gypsum. Sometimes that is needs. For example, the pH is the low or high. You can use this exotic mushroom. This is the wood chips, sawdust. For the ratio of the carbon to nitrogen, we should reach. The ratio of the carbon to nitrogen after the making compost, we should reach to near carbon near the 30. But the amount of the carbon in the wheat straw is the 11. In the wood chips also 11.2. In the sawdust is the near the 11. This is the amount of the carbon, and you should find the amount of the nitrogen. What is the amount of the nitrogen? This is for the carbon. For the oyster, we can use 100% of the wheat straw. But if we want to improve our products, it is better at this. This is the source of the carbon. But now we need also the source of the nitrogen. Also, the mushroom needs to the two elements, carbon and nitrogen. For nitrogen, you can use the residues of the soybean, the residues of the rapeseed, the residues of the cotton. For example, you can use wheat bran, the best one. The best source for the nitrogen is wheat bran. For example, in the oyster you can use, in the king oyster, shimei, shiitake, you can use this substrate. For example, if you for the shimei and the king oyster you use 50% of the wood chips, 50% of the sawdust, you can also use 20% of the total weight. You can use wheat bran or residues of the vestige of the soybean. After extracting oil from the soybean, the remains known as soybean meal, the best substrate for the providing the nitrogen. This is the very public one of the about this exotic mushroom. Thank you very much.